The Chosen is entering its most dangerous season yet. Not because of controversy, spectacle, or scale, but because Season 6 chooses to do something far more unsettling. It slows everything down. Season 6 of The Chosen doesn't cover a journey. It doesn't span weeks, months, or years. It doesn't build toward the crucifixion. It lives inside it. Dallas Jenkins has confirmed that Season 6 takes place almost entirely within a single day, the final 24 hours of Jesus Christ's life. And that decision changes everything. Why one day is more terrifying than a lifetime? Most biblical adaptations rely on distance. They summarize suffering, they compress events, they move quickly so the audience can survive the weight of what's happening. Season 6 refuses to do that. By confining the story to a single day, The Chosen removes escape routes. There's no later, no relief through time jumps, no softening through montage. Every decision lingers, every silence stretches, every betrayal has room to breathe. This isn't a season about what happens, it's about what it feels like when you know what's coming and can't stop it. Night becomes the dominant setting for a reason. Jenkins revealed that most of Season 6 takes place at night. That's not just logistical, it's thematic. Night is where faith becomes private, where fear stops being theoretical, where people reveal who they are when no one is watching. The Last Supper, the garden, the arrest, the waiting. These aren't public moments of belief. They're moments of doubt, exhaustion, and moral collapse. Season 6 isn't interested in the spectacle of the cross. It's interested in the hours leading up to it, when everyone still thinks there might be another way. Why this season was so hard to film? Jonathan Rumi has said Season 6 is the most difficult work of his career. And that makes sense, because portraying Jesus in this season isn't about authority or wisdom, it's about vulnerability without relief. There's no miracle to perform, no crowd to teach, no escape from the inevitability ahead. Rumi isn't playing a figure moving toward destiny, he's playing someone carrying the full awareness of what obedience will cost. Elizabeth Tabish, who plays Mary Magdalene, described the experience as emotionally devastating, watching someone you love be mocked, stripped of dignity, and executed, knowing you can't intervene. Season 6 doesn't ask the cast to act suffering, it asks them to sit inside it. Why filming in Italy matters. The crucifixion scenes were filmed in Matera, Italy, a location chosen not for beauty, but for texture, stone, height, exposure. This isn't a controlled soundstage environment. It's an open space where vulnerability feels real. Behind-the-scenes footage shows cast and crew visibly emotional, not because the scenes are dramatic, but because they're prolonged. No quick cuts, no relief between takes, no emotional reset. Season 6 is physically exhausting because the story itself is exhausting, and that exhaustion is intentional. The season isn't asking what happened. Everyone knows how this story ends. Season 6 isn't about surprise, it's about presence. It asks, what does loyalty look like when fear takes over? What does faith look like when obedience leads to loss? What happens when silence becomes heavier than violence? By focusing on one day, the show forces us to confront something uncomfortable. Most suffering doesn't come from sudden tragedy, it comes from waiting for the inevitable. Why the theatrical release makes sense. The Season 6 finale will be released in theaters in 2027, not because it's bigger, but because it's heavier. Some stories aren't meant to be multitasked. They aren't meant to be scrolled past or half-watched. The crucifixion isn't treated as content here. It's treated as an event that demands attention. Silence, stillness, witness. Season 6 doesn't aim to shock. It aims to make it impossible to look away. What Season 6 is really about? This season isn't about death. It's about the cost of obedience, the loneliness of moral certainty, the weight of knowing your suffering won't be misunderstood, it will be used. Jesus isn't portrayed as unaware, he isn't confused, he isn't panicked, he is fully present. And that presence is what makes this season unbearable and powerful. Final thought. Season 6 of The Chosen doesn't ask whether Jesus will survive, it asks something far more difficult. What does it mean to remain faithful when faith offers no protection? By stretching one day across an entire season, the show forces us to sit inside the silence before the cross, where belief is tested not by doubt, but by endurance. This isn't a season you rush through, it's a season you survive. And that may be the most honest depiction The Chosen has ever attempted.